Luna Ascending by Zaina Wilder. Copyright Zaina Wilder 2024. All rights reserved. Freya. The next few days flash by in a bizarre, dreamlike state. Mark's tonic helped for the first 24 hours. Goddess knows what was in it, but it was super potent. This is a whole new parallel world, existing right alongside my old safe one. It's bewildering. I'm so lost and very, very alone. There's no one to talk to, except Mark. He's the only tangible thing in this weird new reality, the only solid, trustworthy person in my life right now. I can't even trust my own body not to pull some wacky shit and set off a power surge. I've come to accept that Mark's right. I need to fully immerse myself in this new life. I need to come to terms with it. It finally hit home when he bluntly told me that if I couldn't get myself under control, then I could kill someone. Having magical powers comes with the responsibility to wield them properly. Hell, I don't even know what I can do yet. Considering how much pain I inflicted on the Coven, people far more powerful than your average human, he's got a point. I need to take control of this. I need to take control of myself. While I'm grappling to come to terms with who I am, Mark starts to organise me, and I just let him. Being such a passenger in my own life is a bit crap, but my head is in a tailspin. It's easier to go with the flow. Mark's pushy by nature. He just excels at trying to reshape me, to show me where I fit in. And damn it, I need any help I can get. I just have to swallow my pride and let him get on with it. He immediately moves me in with him to be closer to the Coven. The bright, sterile penthouse apartment that we share is 1,000,000 times more upmarket than my grubby, decaying flat. It's bizarre. I half miss that flat. I definitely miss my plants. Only a select few seem to have made it through the packing process, done, of course, by Mark's people. He didn't think the stress of moving would be good for me, so instead, I arrived to find all my belongings already moved in. The ones that made the cut. And there weren't many. The views across the city from up here are stunning, and not only does the apartment have a working buzzer system, but a concierge too. It should be perfect, but the minimalist style falls short. It feels empty somehow. Mark has promised I can put my own stamp on it when we have time, so for the moment I just need to adjust. Of course, it's far outside my budget, but he insisted that since he owns the building, I shouldn't pay anything. It's probably the first time in my adult life I've not paid my own way. I'm not sure I like it. If I'm honest, since the utter fiasco of my great witchy revelation at the Devoudu gathering, my feelings for Mark have changed. As annoying and arrogant as I found him before, I'm starting to look beyond that. He's the only person I can talk to about the new me. It's not as if I can look Liz up and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm a witch. What d'you think?" So Mark has become a solid fixture in my life, and I'm severely lacking those right now. It doesn't hurt that the man is devilishly handsome. He's not Dirk, but he does have a body most women would die for. And now, without really noticing how it happened, I seem to be his. It's surreal. I'm living someone else's life, and one day soon, maybe I'll wake up. The more time we spend together, the more I realise that he's helping me be the best version of myself. It feels good to have someone in my corner. So good that when he started referring to me as his girlfriend without us having that conversation, I just went with it. Sure, he's a little too presumptuous, but he's a stable force when everything else is unknown. This has to be better than trying to figure shit out on my own. In quiet moments, I hear Dirk's words over and over in my head, calling me a witch and telling me to go back to the coven. I was so upset at the time, I didn't question how odd the words themselves were. He must have realised what I was before I did. Not that it matters. The revelation sparked only pure hatred. I have to stop thinking about Dirk, because remembering our argument just makes me feel even more alone. He hates me, and I've moved on. In the past few weeks, Mark's outdone himself. He's whisked me off to some truly romantic spots. His plans are always so last minute, though. So last minute that I've had to cancel on Liz several times. I was almost glad. What the hell am I going to say to her? But I want to make the effort with her. I really do. Even if Mark doesn't like her. Even though he thinks our friendship won't go the distance. It's such a wrench to lose her. He's right. Making new friends within the coven would help me. But Liz and I have been friends for so long, and we're from such different backgrounds to begin with, that I can't give up on her. Not yet. Sometimes, when I'm alone in the new apartment, with nothing much to do, I start to nitpick, remembering all the things that annoy me about Mark. His overbearing attitude, the decisions he makes for me, the fact I'm now stuck here with nothing to do but study and wait for him to come home. We have people for that. I already hate the damn phrase. It feels like it's his fault that I'm in limbo. In the end, we decided it was going to be too risky for me to go back to work in the school, so I handed in my notice. I hate being stuck here, reliant on him. I'm here all day, every day, with the driest of dry books on the history of witches and a few plants for company. Mark's role in the family business has to come first, of course, but it still grates on me, especially when he's away for days at a time. It's just loneliness, but it sucks. It has to be loneliness, because as soon as he steps over the threshold, it all melts away. It's like his very presence casts a spell on me, and I perk right up. None of the things I've spent the past days griping to myself about matter anymore. Maybe I'm growing up. This isn't some silly schoolgirl crush or infatuation. We're managing to put aside our differences and are compromising to be together. But it only takes a couple of weeks before I'm chomping at the bit, desperate for more from my new life. Mark reluctantly agrees I can poke around the coven's library, but only with a chaperone, and his choice of guide is freaking awful. He introduces me to Davina, an up-and-coming witch in the coven. It is insta-hate from the word go between us. I swear the girl is the epitome of the popular chick in high school. Someone just forgot to tell her that you're meant to leave that shit behind when you graduate. She's all designer handbags, knowing smiles, inane chit-chat, and pure, unadulterated hatred for anyone catching Mark's eye. So, that would be me. Not only that, but she dislikes the library, books, and learning. She takes painstaking pleasure, after learning I'm a budding artist, to tell me that she hates art too. There is no way we're ever seeing eye to eye. What could have been an amazing resource is already soured by having Whiny Face as my companion. On top of that, my access to the library is severely restricted. Apparently, according to the librarian, it's a precaution for all new members. I'm not dumb, though. I don't miss the quizzically amused look that passes between Davina and the librarian. This is a rule purely for me, isn't it? Snorting, I march away from the pair of them to the only section I'm allowed in. This stinks of Mark and his meddling. He's paranoid about my lack of control. I guess if I learn actual spells before I can wield them properly, it might be dangerous. His controlling behaviour doesn't make sense otherwise, and I know he's just looking out for me. How could I forget? He keeps reminding me. It doesn't take long before the librarian, a friendly enough looking lady in a stunning sari, becomes exasperated by Davina and her complete inability to shut the hell up. I flash her a conspiratorial eye roll before turning back to my book. At least working in the school library, I've developed the ability to tune out incessant chatter. Ignoring the twittering idiot, I focus on the information in front of me. There has to be something relevant here, surely. By mid-morning, the librarian's had enough and shoos Davina off to find the coffee she's been bitching about for the past hour. Something about how engrossed I've been must have made her warm up to me. She sneaks me a dusty old book from a section of the library that's off limits. From her furtive glances and the way she scuttles over to me with it before darting off again, I get the sneaking suspicion Davina might not be the only one watching me. What are they worried I'll find out? I just want to understand more about who and what I am, and more importantly, what I can do. The book the librarian brought me might not be the practical Witching for Idiots guide that I desperately need, but at least it sheds some light on why the coven had their panties in a twist over finding me. Flicking through, I pause, coming across some stunning sketches depicting the last AOC. The woman in the drawings looks utterly terrifying, and her runes are literally tattooed all over her body. Maybe the number of runes depicts how powerful the AOC is? Maybe I'm not that big a deal after all. I only have one. There's only a tiny section of the book that's relevant, but I pore over it with glee. AOC were once an entire race, but dwindled to nothing eons ago. Intermittently, throughout the ages, the myth goes, someone who's a distant descendant expresses their runes and comes into their power. Legend has it that this only happens in times of great change. Very often, the supernatural race the AOC is born into gives an indication of who might triumph in the war to come. The few short paragraphs leave my brain spinning. What does it mean, supernatural race? Were there once other supernatural beings? Why did they die out? What the hell can I do to bring about great change? I managed to explode a few chandeliers by accident and upset some lights. It isn't exactly history-altering shit. Davina is back, clattering around the library, annoying the shit out of everyone. Sighing, I push the book into the middle of the pile in front of me, hiding it best I can, before I scrape my chair back and stretch out as I stand. Finally, is Mark's little bookworm ready to leave? Glaring, I bite back a retort. I truly don't know what he sees in you. You might be AOC, but by the goddess, you're not exactly worthy of the title, are you? She sniffs haughtily before stomping out the door. Trailing behind her, I catch the librarian's eye. She gives me a wry grin and potters off to clear away the books we've left behind. I desperately want to scream my thanks at her, but I'm guessing she'd be in trouble if anyone found out. By the time we're back in my apartment, I cannot wait to be rid of Davina. I thought I wanted company, but she is significantly worse than being alone here. Thankfully, once she realises Mark isn't due home, she's about as keen to hang around as a cat is to swim. Once she's gone, I settle myself down for an afternoon of painting. I still have deadlines to meet. I'm going to have to find an explanation if Mark ever sees my work. He's got enough of an eye for art that he'll realise how close to the originals these are. He might work out what I'm doing. I don't think I trust him enough to tell him the truth. It could undo everything.